Welcome to Gold Journal's Indian Premier League cricket match review.
It's glad to be here for this one.
So, how does a team surrender over 90 runs in just the first 6 overs at basically the most batter-friendly stadium in the world?
Right, Wankhede.
Yeah, Wankhede. And then they somehow walk away with a completely effortless victory. Like, today we are really dissecting the anatomy of a momentum hijack. We're looking at that massive 6-wicket win by Mumbai Indians over the Lucknow Super Giants.
It was incredible to watch.
It really was. I mean, it practically serves as a textbook for dismantling opposition pressure and engineering just this flawless run chase.
Yeah, momentum in T20 cricket is almost universally treated by commentators like this mystical, unstoppable force.
For sure, the momentum has shifted.
Exactly. You hear it all the time. Like, once a batting lineup is flying, you just have to wait around for them to make a mistake. But what Mumbai proved in this specific match is that momentum is actually a mechanical construct.
Interesting. A mechanical construct.
Yeah, it can be systematically broken down, if you apply pressure in very specific calculated windows.
Well, let's get right into the mechanics of that breakdown then, starting with what we're basically calling the squeeze, because the context here is vital for you listening. LSG was absolutely dismantling the Mumbai attack early on.
Oh, it was brutal.
Smashed for over 90 in the power play. At Wankhede, where the ball notoriously just skids onto the bat beautifully under the lights, you're looking at a trajectory for, what, 250?
Easily 250, maybe even 260 the way they were going.
Right. And the instinct for a fielding captain in that scenario is usually to just panic, right? To throw everything at the wall and demand these miracle deliveries from the bowlers.
Which invariably leads to disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, bowlers start over-pitching, they miss their Yorkers, and they just leak even more boundaries. But Mumbai fundamentally changed their defensive geometry here.
What do you mean by defensive geometry?
Well, they stopped trying to take wickets entirely. They shifted completely to boundary denial. Look at the data from overs 12 to 15 and then overs 17 to 20. Across those two distinct blocks, Mumbai bowlers gave up a combined total of just 42 runs.
Wait, in modern T20, giving up 42 runs across 7 overs in the back half of an innings at Wankhede?
Yeah.
That is statistically absurd.
It's unheard of. They gave up about 20 runs in that 12 to 15 over block. And then, at the death, the last 3 overs, they conceded just 16 runs.
Wow. Just 16?
Yeah. They allowed a single boundary in the final 3 overs of the innings. Just one. And the biomechanics of how they achieved this are really fascinating.
Break that down for us.
So, Deepak Chahar's final over, right? He conceded just 6 runs. It was an absolute clinic in taking pace off the ball. He wasn't bowling into the pitch like you'd expect.
Right. Usually you bang it in short.
Exactly. But he was using heavy cutters. He was dropping his arm speed so subtly at the point of release that the ball gripped the surface just enough to throw off the batter's timing.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, so the batters were swinging through the line of the ball, but the ball was arriving a fraction of a second late.
Man, and Jasprit Bumrah's trajectory in this match is kind of the ultimate case study in that exact tactical recalibration. I mean, he was hit for 31 runs in his first 2 power play overs.
Which is very un-Bumrah-like.
Totally. And, a lot of bowlers, even international ones, they carry that trauma into their second spell. They start bowling faster, they get more aggressive, and they completely lose their shape. But Bumrah returns at the death and just completely locks them down.
Because he abandoned the search for early swing. When he realized that the pitch wasn't offering that lateral movement with the new ball, he stopped bowling that hard top of the off stump length that was just getting dispatched.
Right.
In his final overs, he shifted to wide Yorkers, aggressive changes of pace using a heavily protected offside field. He basically dared them to hit over the longer boundaries on the offside while feeding them deliveries they just physically couldn't get underneath.
It's essentially like a tactical military retreat. You don't stand at the beachhead and try to fight the initial surge when you're completely outnumbered and outgunned.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, you fall back. You stretch the enemy's supply lines, draw them into this fortified choke point further inland, and then you dictate the terms of engagement. It's like watching a dam burst, but instead of panicking as the water rushes in, Mumbai just calmly built 2 strategic reinforced walls further downstream to completely stop the flood.
And they did stop it. But, the contrast between Mumbai's early bowling plans and that late game execution brings up these really glaring tactical lapses that allowed LSG to build that threatening total in the first place.
Yeah, we have to talk about that.
We do.
Yeah.
Because you can't praise the death bowling without questioning the absolute mess that was their middle over strategy against Nicholas Pooran.
Oh, Pooran. He was the architect of that initial surge, right? I mean, he blasted 50 off just 21 balls. And keep in mind, for everyone listening, this is a player who was in a profound slump.
A terrible sum.
He managed just 82 runs across his previous 8 matches. He looked totally lost at the crease leading into this fixture.
And Mumbai practically spoon-fed him his form back. Pooran hit 8 sixes in that innings. And the underlying data point here is just staggering. All 8 of those sixes were hit to the leg side.
Wait, every single one?
Every single one. Bumrah and Corbin Bosch were inexplicably bowling directly to his pads and his leg stump.
So, are you suggesting they went in without a data-driven plan, or was this just like a catastrophic failure of execution on the field?
It looks like a flawed attempt to cramp him for room. The theory might have been, bowled into his body so he couldn't free his arms.
Makes sense on paper.
Right. But Pooran's biomechanics completely counter that strategy. He clears his front leg exceptionally well. When you bowl at his stumps or his pads, you are bowling directly into the arc of his bat swing.
Oh, so you're just feeding him.
Yeah. He didn't have to manufacture any shots or take any risks. He literally just planted his foot and swung through his natural plane. And Mumbai just refused to adjust their line outside the off stump. Even after the third or fourth six went sailing into the leg side stands.
Which is just baffling game awareness from experienced bowlers. But, the LSG camp had its own internal narrative of contrasting fortunes. Because while Pooran is out there effortlessly clearing the ropes on his leg side, Rishabh Pant is at the other end looking completely unhinged.
Oh, man. Pant's innings is like the dark side of franchise cricket economics. We all saw the pre-match footage.
Yeah, the emotional pledge.
Exactly. He made this highly charged, super emotional promise to give 200% for the team's highly passionate owner, Sanjeev Goenka.
Yeah.
And the psychological weight of that statement translated horribly onto the pitch.
Horribly. I mean, he was swinging out of his shoes from ball 1, totally chaotic.
His strike rate is hovering around 120. His average is down. The shot selection is just erratic. And a significant portion of the cricket analytics community is pointing directly to his 25 crore price tag.
The price tag, right.
Yeah. The theory is that this unprecedented fee acts as a mental anchor. The intense pressure to validate that kind of financial investment is short-circuiting his tactical brain. It's making him play the expectation rather than playing the actual delivery.
See, I have to challenge that narrative, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. Because blaming a 25 crore price tag for swinging wildly at the first ball you face, it feels like a massive cop-out to me. It betrays a fundamental lack of game awareness.
How so?
Well, when your partner at the other end is striking at 250 and your team is already laying the foundation for a massive total, you don't need to hit a 6 off your first delivery to prove your worth.
That's true.
Right. True elite batting is about reading the match situation and rotating the strike, not letting your ego or your price tag dictate your bat swing.
I mean, the frustration is valid, but human psychology under extreme scrutiny rarely follows pure logic. When a player desperately wants to silence his critics and justify a record-breaking contract, the urge to do something visually spectacular, to hit a boundary immediately, it just overrides situational awareness.
So he's not reacting to the ball.
Exactly. He isn't reacting to the ball. He's reacting to the pressure.
The expectation becomes the opponent instead of the bowler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, but let's shift gears, because this is where the match dynamic completely flips. Despite Mumbai's clinical death bowling, LSG still put up a massive, intimidating target.
He really did.
And chasing a score like that under lights normally comes with immense scoreboard pressure. Yet Mumbai made it look completely effortless. Like, how?
Routine is the perfect word for it. And that routine was established entirely by the opening partnership. The reunion of Rohit Sharma and Ryan Rickelton at the top of the order dictated the entire chase.
Oh, they were friends.
They put together a 140-plus run stand for the first wicket, completely neutralizing LSG's opening bowlers.
Yeah, with Rohit returning from injury, with that trademark lazy elegance, right? Timing the ball instead of just muscling it. They were scoring at an incredible clip, but it never looked frantic. It wasn't that chaotic slogging we saw from Pant. It was methodical.
And what's critical to understand here is this concept of psychological safety in a run chase.
Psychological safety.
Yeah. When a team is chasing a massive total, the required run rate usually climbs, creating this absolute pressure cooker for the middle order. But Rohit and Rickelton scored so fluently that they inverted that pressure. By the time Rohit was dismissed, Mumbai only needed 52 runs to win.
Wow. Leaving 52 runs for the entire middle order is essentially giving them a free pass. It's like Rohit and Rickelton built the entire house, put on the roof, and just left the interior decorating for the middle order. The heavy lifting was entirely done.
They completely deflated the opposition. That opening stand absorbed every ounce of scoreboard pressure, placing the incoming batters into a completely protected environment. The middle order didn't have to take a single high-risk shot. They just had to manipulate the field and rotate the strike.
It's like watching an algorithmic, high-frequency trading bot at work. They didn't take wild gambles. They methodically identified the gaps, took low-risk, high-reward boundaries, and mathematically eliminated the opposition's win probability over by over.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
They secured the primary objective so thoroughly that the rest of the team was just running out the clock.
And the historical context of this partnership makes it even more profound. I mean, Mumbai Indians are a dynasty. 5 championships, countless legendary players. Yet, in the entire history of the franchise, they have only successfully chased a target of 220 or more, twice.
Wait, just twice in their entire history?
Only twice.
Yeah.
And both of those successful massive chases occurred this very season.
No way.
Yeah, and the singular common denominator in both matches was a 140-plus opening stand between Rohit Sharma and Ryan Rickelton. The data explicitly shows that this specific partnership is the absolute prerequisite for Mumbai to chase down gargantuan totals.
That statistic perfectly illustrates how singular their synergy is. That's crazy. But, a synchronized performance like this, the surgical death bowling, the mathematically precise opening stand, it does not happen in a vacuum.
Right.
It requires absolute clarity of thought on the field, which brings us to the major leadership shift we saw in this match.
Yes. The tactical omission of Hardik Pandya.
Exactly. Officially, management called it back pain. But the timing of this absence, right when the team needed a complete reset in their tactical approach, it feels heavily manufactured.
It does.
It feels like a very deliberate, hard call by the coaching staff.
Well, whether the injury was genuine or just a convenient cover for a strategic benching, the on-field result was undeniable. Suryakumar Yadav took over the captaincy, and the strategic pivot was immediate. I mean, the most glaring difference was right at the toss.
Right, because under Hardik's leadership this season, Mumbai had developed this stubborn habit of choosing to bat first when winning the toss, completely ignoring the historical data of Wankhede Stadium.
Which makes no sense.
It makes no sense. You have the dew factor later in the evening, which makes gripping the ball a nightmare for bowlers, and it allows the ball to skid onto the bat perfectly for the chasing side. Hardik kept trying to defend totals and kept failing. SKY walks out, wins the toss, and instantly opts to chase.
Because SKY recognized that you don't fight the venue's DNA. He looked at the conditions, he looked at his batting lineup, which, let's be honest, is heavily stacked with aggressive chasers, and he made the statistically optimal decision.
Right.
It brought instant tactical clarity to the squad. Hardik was trying to impose his will on the conditions.
Yeah.
SKY adapted his strategy to leverage the conditions.
And while SKY was bringing all this clarity and logic to Mumbai's strategy, the leadership over in the LSG camp was descending into total cognitive collapse.
It really was a mess. The bowling changes orchestrated by the LSG captain in the second innings were just baffling.
Let's isolate the management of Prince Yadav for a second.
Okay, yeah. He was having an exceptional spell. In a match where everyone else was traveling at 10 or 12 runs and over, Yadav had given up only 24 runs in his 3 overs.
Right, he was bowling these brilliant slower bouncers, changing his grip to disguise the pace, and actually frustrating Rohit Sharma, which is near impossible when Rohit is set.
Exactly. He was the only bowler who figured out how to extract any grip from that surface. So logic dictates he bowls his full quota of 4 overs. But instead, the LSG captain pulls him from the attack and hands the ball back to Avesh Khan.
Avesh Khan, who was currently enduring an absolute nightmare of a spell, bowling predictable lengths and getting launched into the stands by Rohit, he ends up bowling 3.5 overs while Yadav just sits in the outfield.
It makes no sense.
When a team is on a demoralizing 6-match losing streak like LSG, do they just lose the mental bandwidth to make the most obvious tactical choices? Like simply bowling your most economical bowler? How does a professional captain justify pulling the hot hand to bowl someone who is actively losing you the game?
This is where we really have to analyze the psychology of a team on a losing streak. Chronic losing creates an environment of pervasive anxiety and self-preservation. Captains stop trying to win the game and start trying to manage the blame.
Manage the blame. That's a powerful way to put it.
Think about it. Avesh Khan is the established name. He's the senior bowler. Prince Yadav is the emerging talent.
So it's a regression to hierarchy.
Precisely. If you bowl Avesh and he gets hit for 20 runs, the narrative is simply that your premier fast bowler had a bad day at the office. The captain's decision-making isn't heavily scrutinized.
Right, because he played the right guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you trust the younger, less experienced bowler in a high-pressure situation and he fails, the captain takes all the heat for poor management. The LSG captain wasn't reading the pitch or the live data. He was falling back on the safest, most defensible pre-match script. That rigidity is the hallmark of a leadership group lacking confidence.
You stop managing the game in front of you and you start managing the post-match press conference. It's totally defensive captaincy.
And it ultimately cost them whatever small chance they had of defending that total.
Wow. It really perfectly ties together the entire narrative of this match. If we synthesize everything we've broken down today, the ultimate lesson from this match isn't just a list of cricket statistics. It is a profound, real-world example of how targeted pressure like Mumbai's brilliant death bowling and establishing a rock-solid early foundation like that 140-plus opening stand can completely neutralize a daunting challenge. Mumbai didn't win this match by swinging harder or bowling faster. They won through intellectual flexibility.
Completely.
They executed a tactical retreat with their death bowling to neutralize LSG's surge, and then they utilized the mathematical precision of Rohit and Rickelton to systematically absorb the scoreboard pressure, rendering the opposition completely powerless.
And, the contrasting struggles of the players involved provide a really fascinating psychological thread for you to pull on. Think back to our breakdown of Rishabh Pant and the narrative surrounding his 25 crore price tag.
Yeah, the mental anchor.
Right. It extends far beyond the boundary ropes into any high-stakes environment. Consider your own career or personal life. How often does the weight of immense external expectations, like a massive metaphorical price tag placed on you by a company, your peers, or even your own internal monologue, actually alter your natural decision-making?
That's a great question.
Does the intense, overwhelming pressure to prove your immediate worth actually become the very mechanism that prevents you from delivering your best work? Something to really think about.
Thank you. See you soon with upcoming matches.